Hello, it's me, old boy awake and brave, from Blighty. You know the one, yes. Just listening to some Jim Reeves.
Blue boy, that's what they call me, 'cause I'm so lonely since I lost you. Blue boy, I'm known as Blue boy. You found a new boy, and now we're through. I had a twinkle in my eye when our sweet love was new. Now all I do is moan and cry, hunger after you.
Every time I'm listening to Jim,
Boy, I'll be your blue
I just go into space, man.
until you need me
It's like
as I need you.
2 grams of shrooms without the silly faces everywhere, without the deep introspection. It's a beautiful, soothing, calming meditation. I'll turn this really way down low. Now, I was listening to, over this past few weeks, I've been listening to a lot of different stuff. I just had a change of course, people, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I've been listening and watching the Buddy Holly stories and the documentaries of how he died, how he rose to fame, and Elvis, and Jim Reeves, and Patsy Cline, and Eddie Cochran, and all these incredible souls which had untimely deaths. And you gotta wonder, why does the universe always take the best and leave the shit behind? Causes me great contemplation. I bought this pipe several years ago because I figured I'd give it a go. This was when I was in Tenerife for the first time, and I had the beard and all that, and I thought, my old man used to smoke a pipe, you see, and I thought I'd give it a go. Didn't like it. I kind of like chewing on the pipe. Ah, yes. Maybe I'll put some weed in that or something. Nah. But it's befitting to my age and my disposition, and potentially it could be a very soothing thing. But I just don't like the idea of smoking. Did it a bit in the past, don't like it. Anyway, that's a beautiful rosewood pipe. It cost me £60. It's quality. Jim Reeves was about one of the only albums that my old man possessed when I was growing up. And in later years he bought Don Williams, or rather we kids bought him Don Williams because our stepmother suggested that he would like it. But he had a few of these old Jim Reeves vinyls, the LPs, with the picture like that on the front. And he used to play guitar very much like the one I have over here. Now, that guitar originally is a Gibson Hummingbird, very popular in its day in the 60s. Lots of people had one, like Mick Jagger, all different sorts of people. They got on the bandwagon, they had that particular style. So my old man used to sing Jim Reeves, and he had a very pleasant baritone voice, and he used to finger pick on the guitar. And so now I look around my life and I've got that guitar, which in my mind is memorabilia from the good times with my old man. The pipe, same sort of thing, trying to emulate the old man. And so when we speak about free will, people, I don't believe in it at all. We are our journey. We are whatever our spirit was destined to be, whatever our genetics were destined to be, whatever the path we travelled has led us to. That's what we are. Nothing about free will at all. So, over this past few weeks, I've just been entranced with Jim Reeves' songs, and I've really tried to emulate him just a little bit by learning some of the songs, and reasonably happy with them. But of course, there's only one Jim Reeves, and anyone that sings a Jim Reeves song, people go, that's Jim Reeves. You can't sing Jim Reeves songs. You just can't. It doesn't matter how good you are. Don't be singing Jim Reeves songs. Listen. That incredible voice.
The road we have traveled has come to,
without even trying.
When two love the same love,
Oh, wow.
one love has to.
Anyway, I can't concentrate with that. It just blows me away, guys and girls. So I'm going to have to turn him off for a little while, because there's something that I want to speak about. Now, over this past 15 years, I've learned a lot of stuff. Been down just about every rabbit hole you can imagine. Learned an enormous amount of stuff. Long-term viewers will know that I've been doing this, watching YouTube every single day. 8, 10, 12 hours every single day for the past 15 years. Save for 1 year vacation when I was just reading for the same period. And during this 15 years, I've read thousands of books, watched, listened to hundreds of thousands of videos, and learned a thing or two. But what have I learned? I've learned that there's no truth. Even from the very, very beginning, I always had an a priori knowledge that there's no truth. And I suppose that came from my past lives. I never ever set out to discover truth. I knew it was a fallacy. There is no definitive truth in the cosmos. The cosmos is a paradox, and everything has its polarity. And so if black is true, then white is true. If white is true, then black is true. they are what they are. And when we look into all of the shenanigans of what it is to be a human being, we eventually resign ourselves to understanding that the human being is an exceptionally complex creature and has an incredible imagination, and we have created the cosmos out of our imagination. Our consciousness, the essence, the fundamental premise, essence of the cosmos is consciousness, and we are within consciousness, and we are partaking in consciousness, just having a play, inventing and toying around and creating illusory concepts like truth and fiction and falsity and fakeness and all that stuff. And throughout all these years, I've gone back to the earliest stages of literature to find where everything stemmed from, and that's mythology. The fundamental premise is the mythology, which before it was written down, it was spoken and sung and passed on that way. But all the mythologies all over the world, they've all been a fabrication born out of the imagination and projected onto the cosmos. Because, to be quite frank, there's never been a human being that's ever lived that's ever even come close to discerning what actually is going on here. So, with that being said, I received an email from a young man. He's only about 20 years old. I have several long-term viewers that email me from time to time, and we share a little bit of information. And this email, this particular time, it brought joy. It brought spontaneous laughter when I was reading what was being written by him. And the reason why I was laughing so heartily is because I just cast my mind back 15 years ago when I was on the same journey, asking myself, what on earth is going on? When I had just purchased a laptop, discovered YouTube, and I fell down the rabbit hole. And I was down there for years and years. You know, the aliens, the underground, secret bunkers, the Illuminati, the shape-shifting lizards, Nibiru, the Atlanteans, the Pleiadians, the Avians, the Greys, the Nordics, the lizards, reptilians, just a myriad, an enormous amount. It took me 15 years, people, 12 hours a day to get through that stuff. And in the early days, it turns you upside down, because when you come upon all the conspiracy theories like the planet Nibiru and the Illuminati and the shape-shifting lizards and you know, all the conspiracies about the powers that be and what they're doing to us, and oh my goodness, it's shocking to the core. It's shocking. And I remember listening to Joe Rogan in the early days, And even only a few years ago, he used to recite that Nibiru got him, really got him. You know, the Nibiru is supposed to be the 10th planet. And you see, scientists, they reckon there is a 10th planet out there somewhere, and it's big. And the reason why they say this, speculate this, is because their math tells them so. Because the planets are acting in a peculiar way that suggests there's a very large mass out there which is having the effect on the gravitational pulls of all these planets. And so this has been, said to be Nibiru, Planet X. And yeah, there's lots of stuff, people, lots of stuff that really have been a tizzy. And of course, I was around all my friends and family telling them this and telling them that. And, just like, if you meet a new partner, a new boy or a new girl, then you want to tell everybody. And that's how it was. And lots of people, they got scared and they thought you're crazy, and it's kind of like they didn't believe that and all this sort of stuff. And in the end, you have to just leave everyone alone, because it doesn't work. You've got to go your own journey. And so, if you make YouTube videos, then you'll find your people. Like I've done, I've found my people. People who have been on these journeys through the dark night of the soul, on the hero's journey, fallen down the rabbit holes and, the psychedelics and all that sort of stuff. And it's an absolute incredible adventure, I will say that. But now, over this past few years, I'm reading more and more esoteric, deep stuff. And it's all coming out of the same place. It's all coming out of mythology. It's all coming out of human psychology. It's all consciousness weaving its way through the cosmos. Could I say that anything has been true? True to me. True to anybody else? No. Not even come close. Along my journey, I've met angels and demons, gods and devils, cherubs and all different sorts of astral creatures. Have they had any veracity, validity to anybody else? No. What's it all been about? Don't know. Earth experience. We all have one, and they're all different. So, this guy starts with this. Hi Aaron, I hope you're doing well. I saw on Instagram that the government is putting nanotechnology in our food to control us, and also in drinks like cola. A well-known boxer, Ryan Garcia, said this, and others have said it too. Do you think that's the case, and what can we do about it? You don't know if which food it is in, what can you eat and what you cannot eat. That's pretty scary, and I don't know if I should be afraid of it. Maybe I should delete Instagram because the sources are not right. Do you think that's true, or is there something to be afraid of? I wrote back, there's nothing to be afraid of, because we are infinite shards of God consciousness. We are eternal, and we are just simply having a human experience. We're all going to die at some stage. We must never fear death. Death will take us whenever it's time, and so we just continue to enjoy this earth experience, gathering information, and fear not, fear not. It's not easy to do, people. It's a natural disposition for human beings to fear. But when you have learnt enough, and you have been terrified enough, then you ask yourselves, well, did my being terrified ever help in any situation? No. Did it hinder? Yeah. What was the purpose to it? Just the egoic reaction, survival instinct. Do we really need to be terrified? No. We just need to have a rational application to things. And so there's nothing to fear, save fear itself. And so there were occasions when I was out of sorts with certain things, getting agitated by it, bewildered by it, absolutely bemused by all of this shocking stuff. And of course it's still going on today. You know, the whole COVID thing. Absolutely shocking. Everything about it is shocking. And then the California fires, the Australian bushfires, and then monkeypox, bird flus, and oh, you name it. There's always going to be a new stroke that the powers that be are going to be pulling. They've been doing it forever. And the last thing that we should do is buy into it. Don't buy into anything. Just sit back. Don't get involved with it. Just watch. And it'll all come out in the wash. So the second sequence of emails was this. Also, that the earth is flat and not round. That the government is only saying that it's round to influence and control the people. I wonder what could be done if this is really the case. There really is no point in dealing with it, is there? What can you do? Some people say it's round, some people say it's flat. Some people say the cosmos is a simulation. Some people say it's a hologram. Some people say it's a dream. You come upon all these and many, many more. They're just ideas. That's what humans do. We create ideas. We fantasize about things. And then we write things down. We storytell. And we make videos and all that different sorts of stuff. That's the spice of what it's like to be a human being. Next one. And that reptiles control the world. Is that true or bullshit? He asks. So I was laughing and laughing and laughing. And I was laughing because it took me back 15 years to when all this stuff was new and crazy. And some of you will remember because you've been long-term viewers of 15 years ago, 10 years, whatever, when we had a large community of like-minded people discovering all this stuff at the same time. It was like the golden era. There really was a golden era of all this stuff. And it pertained to the newness of YouTube, you know, when YouTube came about and lots of people had laptops and they're all falling down the rabbit hole at the same time and then starting communities and talking to people all over the world. It was a frenzy. That isn't, I don't think it's going on these days. At least I'm not aware of it. Maybe younger people, they're doing it just like I was doing it. Like this young chap here. If he had friends and family, then they'd be sharing the information and it'd all be exciting for them. And you'd wonder where you were, whether you woke up in another dimension, because very often you would feel like you did. And so now, having travelled that journey, having travelled all around the world, you know, myriad times and had all these experiences, and now I just sit here listening to Tim Reeves in meditation, not thinking about any of that stuff, nothing to think about. And so, you know, I've come to a stage in my life, people, where I don't consider that there's anything to say. I don't consider there's any purpose in saying anything. And it's very indicative of how gurus find themselves in a certain place. There's no point in saying anything. Most people that know don't bother saying anything, I'm sure. The ones that do know and try to say something very, very often get ridiculed, and whatever they're saying falls on deaf ears, and it's so tedious, it's so annoying. And I've listened to many of the current gurus and the ones of the past, and I've watched the faces on the people in the crowds, absolutely bewildered. It's like it's their first day on YouTube. When this guy's been down, like I have, 15 years, and he's starting to convey some of this stuff, and people are like, what the fuck? So I just think that people just have to find their own way. And if I had a penny for every silly question that somebody in the audience of any of these gurus posed, I'd be a wealthy man. And it's kind of like, it really does seem like these people have sat before these gurus for the first time without ever watching a video, without ever reading a book. They're absolutely green. What sort of a mentality is it? Maybe some of you guys can help me out, because I know some of you have been to ashrams and things like that. What sort of a person goes to an ashram? Some of these new agers are all excited because, I don't know, maybe someone told them about the Illuminati, and or told them about, or maybe they've read a few pages from a Buddhist book or something, and they're all, you know, candles and fucking crystals, and they've got no idea. And all these people that sit in front of Rupert Spira and Mooji and Sadhguru and Eckhart Tolle and all those sort of people, they're so non-grown. And that's the masses, isn't it? And so, for me, you know, I've never been this guru. Guru just means teacher, people, anyone that's imparting information. So, you know, you don't have to have a long-ass beard and be as skinny as fuck and wear a nappy to be a guru, you know. The Jews call the same thing a rabbi, and we in the West, we call it teacher or educator or whatever. So that's what it is. But I've never been this ground zero guru imparting the lowest of the low to the lowest of the low. I've always been speaking about things which I've encountered and I've been working through at the time. So people that have been following me on my journey, it's been their journey as well, your journey as well. Many of you came on your journey with me. And in the past I used to speak with hundreds of people. Always we were speaking, often in 2 and 3s on YouTube, you know, on the whatever you call it, Zoom and all those sort of things. But that's all over now. And increasingly less and less people, they don't have the desire to speak at the length and depth that I am wanting to speak at these days, because they're not there. And the people that I listen to now are also outcasts. They're people like Rupert Sheldrake. Rupert Sheldrake is a scientist. He's very, very well renowned, mostly for his morphic resonance hypothesis. He's the black sheep of the scientific fraternity. Nobody wants to speak with him except the woo-woo fraternity. And it's shocking, but the vast majority of people are just not open-minded. And then you've got people like Nassim Haramein, the scientist. He's out there, you know. Most scientists think he's in cuckoo land, and you know he's not. He's just pioneering. It's just in another dimension. You know, scientists which have took copious amounts of psychedelics, and their consciousness has expanded, and they're thinking in so many different incredible ways. You see, that's what's happening these days, people. The scientists are actually getting involved in psychedelics because they're saying to themselves, how can I not? If I am a scientific person, if I want truth and I like to do experiments and discover stuff, then surely I want to do these experiments on myself and discover what myself is, or what the essence of me is. How do I do that? Well, you introspect with meditation, and then you take psychedelics. Are two of the very, very important avenues, and so many scientists these days are doing that. And those are the ones that are just outside the mainstream numpties of the world. And so I have to search long and high now. I can't listen to the mainstream people. I can't listen to Russell Brand anymore. He seems to have retrograded, gone deep into that dead desert dogma, which he was always so scornful about. For those of you that remember, Russell Brand always used to be scorning the dead desert dogmas, and now he's fell head over heels into that mire. It's shocking. So absolutely shocking. What happened? What happened to that seemingly intelligent young man that was abreast of everything, then one day just fell foul, and now he's blind, and he can't see any of it. He doesn't want to see any of it. He just wants to believe in Jesus. Jesus loves him, and it's a sickness. It's an illness. He needs medication. All religious people need medication. I was reading Joseph Campbell. That's my latest book. Something about mythologies and things like that. And I think it was Carl Jung said that religions are for people who would be terrified to meet God. Religions are for people who would be too terrified to meet God. Meaning that you will never meet God via religion. If you're going to meet God, you got to meet him in here. You ain't meeting him in any Bible or Quran, people, or in any church. You're meeting him in here, in the darkest, darkest of nights. And you're going to feel him in here. What are you going to be feeling? You can be feeling yourself. You can be feeling the actual essence of what you are, of what the cosmos is. That's God. That's vastly too terrifying for people. They couldn't take that responsibility, being God. That would never do. No, they want God to be up in the clouds, and they want to go and visit a church once now and then and sing a few hymns and pray to Jesus, and then they want to forget about it, and then they want to go back to doing all their wicked stuff. That's what most people want. They don't want to carry the burden of the cosmos upon their shoulders. Man. So, where am I now? I'm at the stage where I think it's all pointless. Because I seem to have, like the ouroboros, I seem to have come right back round and am now biting myself in my own ass. The ouroboros is the snake eating its own tail. And I think that's all we'll ever do. That's all any intellectual has ever discovered in this world. It's like Nietzsche said, if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss will stare back at you. There's nothing there, save for realising that every single thing is you. It's always been you. It always will be you. On my second DMT trip, when I had this, what they call a breakthrough, I went into this incredible place, pure white. And I knew I was speaking to myself. Myself told me that I am it. I've always been it and I always will be it, and there's nothing else. When I was there, I was perfectly okay with that. It seemed perfectly natural because I knew what I was. But then when I started to slip back out of the DMT experience into the Earth experience, I had one foot in the cosmos and one foot on Earth. And then the ego had a bit of a problem with that. Made the knees shake a little bit. It was earth-shattering. To know, to actually know, to feel, to be told that it's all me. Me being consciousness, people. It's all consciousness, and we're all conscious. We're all within consciousness. We're all one. There really is no separation. It's like, you know, when you've got ant colonies and bee colonies and this, that and the other. Nobody in their right mind would take one bee out of it and consider that that bee had a life outside the colony. It's the colony. It would perish in an instant outside the colony. And so we can see in those groups of animals, there's a mini cosmos going on, and they have a morphic resonance all around them. They've got their own consciousness going on, which enables them to do all these incredible things that they do. And it's just like we, the Earth, we've got human consciousness, which enables us to do all the things. Every single animal and creature and specimen on this planet has its own morphic energy field. It's morphogenetic field that it taps into via its vibration. And that's why you take a flying ant out of a colony and place it 1,000 miles from any other ants, and it will build a colony exactly the same as the one it came out of. Now, that isn't genetics, people. The genetics dictates how that ant would grow and how it would give rise to offspring. It doesn't dictate to all the other ants and all the other offspring exactly their positions and what they should do. Some are born into carers, some are born into workers, some are born into defenders, some are born into foraging. The whole ecosystem is born out of the larvae, born into a cloud of morphic resonance of consciousness which pertains to the individual species. So the world is now I see these things and I feel these things, and if I sat before intelligent people speaking like this, I would receive no emotion from them. They just go, It's like, oh, that's just another thought. Oh, that's just another thought. I may as well be saying, yes, and my grandmother, she slipped on a banana skin, you know, and she scuffed her knee. And then they go, yeah, I can envision a grandma slipping on a banana skin and scuffing her knee. Yes, it's within the realm of my capabilities. And you see, the thing is, people, this is the thing, that if I'm speaking about these morphogenetic fields, or if I'm speaking about what an egregore is, if I'm speaking about we being the essence of the cosmos, the magnitude of that, how many really feel it? I feel it with every single cell in this being, and with every single facet of my sentience and consciousness. I know that that's what I am. I don't just think, feasible, you know, in some limited sort of way. You see, this is the thing with people. They can receive a concept and they think they know it when they don't know it. They just know it kind of like here-ish, like a little bubble of thought. They don't know it inside. They don't know it in the depths of their consciousness. They don't know it within every single cell and atom of their bodies. They don't know it like that. Very few people do. And so these are the people that I'm seeking out, the ones that you can listen to and you know that they know. Not just ones that have read books and listened to videos and then parrot fashioning it back. No. The ones that pull it out of the air. They pull it out of the ether. And then they lay it before you. And in all my videos, all over the years, I've always been pointing at something. And I've been conveying a feeling. And I've always said, this life is a feeling. That's what it is. You've got to feel everything. Intellectualizing, okay, that's just a little facet of it. It won't get you very far. It's your intuition. It's embodying that cosmic consciousness. When you are a drop of rain, you're just a drop of rain. But when you fall down to the ocean, you become the ocean. And when you're the ocean, look at all that information that you're aware of. That mass expanse with gazillions and gazillions and gazillions of little drops of rain, just like you were. Then when you enter that pool of consciousness, you enter into a different paradigm, people. And so that's where I am. And I can't get any satiation from making videos and talking to the vast majority of people. You know, when I'm speaking with people, I get a level of satiation, but it's still many tiers down to where I would rather bask within. And I don't know where I would have to go to find these people. Gurus in Mexico, in the Himalayas, in the Indus Valley. How far would I have to travel to be able to sit down with somebody and feel an affinity, instantly have a confluence with their level of consciousness, because I could feel that they knew. Because if you can't feel that, then everybody around you is also very separate. And albeit we have this extended concept of we're all one, for those who do not feel it and exhibit it, you cannot share that oneness with them. They've got no idea. So this is why we need birds of a feather flock together. How many enlightened beings are there? How many enlightened beings have enlightened being conventions? How many would dare? They'd all be murdered. Somebody would drop a bomb on them. How dare they suggest they're any different to us? The minions, the muggles. They wouldn't dare. And this is why the concept of the humble, enlightened being, that's the only way they can get away with it. By just professing that they don't know anything. That they're nothing. They're not worthy. And they would never try to impress upon anything upon anyone. Fear of suffering their ignorance and their wrath. And it's only in modern times, when you've got the likes of Sadhguru and Muji and all those that rake in millions, that they'll make these compromises. But can you imagine what these people think about these people in the audience? They're just dead. They're just a source of income. Just an inconvenience. Every now and again, Muji will do a satsang and rake in another 50 grand, which will tide him over for the next year. And Sadhguru, he's probably on 100 grand every time he gets on the stage. Does anybody that's really intelligent really think that these people are 1,000,000,000% compassionate for all the fools out there? It doesn't work like that, people. It doesn't work like that. Because if you have compassion, then compassion is very, very similar to pity, isn't it? And so, would we ever dream of saying, I pity you? That's the most demeaning thing you could ever say. But pity and compassion are bedfellows as far as I can see. So if you have compassion, then you're looking down and you're feeling, oh, I know what you feel like, you sad little feck. Oh, yes, yes. Well, breathe deeply, meditate, and just try and chill the fuck out, you idiots. Yeah, no. And I've seen the best of these gurus get infuriated. And so it's a complete fallacy that the enlightened being is 1,000,000,000% compassionate and loving and doting and caring. They're really not. They're really not. And that's why these gurus and people, they don't want to be around people. They don't want to be around the muggles. And it's like Muji. He'll do satsang now and again, but where is he then? Where is he in the interim? He's far away from the pink muggle. And Osho, he was a recluse for the last umpteen years of his life. Very, very seldomly coming out, barely saying a word. Consider this is all futile. It doesn't matter what you say, you see, to people. People have to learn it themselves. They have to know it themselves. They have to intuit it themselves. You can labour and labour and labour and labour about all the wonderful benefits of meditation, but unless you've been doing all this meditation for many years, and then you've had a fleeting vision or a little bit of a breakthrough. I've had, a handful of very shocking events in 15 years of constant meditation every single day. 5. They've been remarkable, absolutely remarkable. But it's took 15 years of daily meditation. Whereas if you take psychedelics, you get them every day. Every day. And if you've had hundreds of psychedelic experiences, well, does that mean you should be 1,000,000,000% compassionate to your fellow men? I'm no more compassionate now than the day I was when I never had a single psychedelic. Nothing. Nothing. 15 years of meditation hasn't made me more compassionate. If anything, it's made me the opposite. It's made me more scathing of the ignorance. And I've just got a greater level of acceptance for the idiocracy of the world. It's just a fucking cesspool. It's just a fucking cesspool of crazy bat-ass shit. And 1 in a million. 1 in a million is a gem. 1 in a million, people. And so, I don't feel as if I want to keep imparting information. That's what I'm saying. I don't feel that I've been getting anything from it. And if ever there was, now and again, these things are so far and few between. And I have to weigh up what I'm doing with my life. It's like panning for gold. You can pan for 1 whole month and get the tiniest little bit fleck of gold. You're going to say to yourself, there must be something else I could be doing if it's money I'm looking for, or if it's just gratification for the act of doing something. At least if you're finding little flecks of gold each day, you might love it and think, that's great, yeah, that's worthwhile. But if you're not, it isn't, is it? And that's where I am, people. So listening to Jim Reeves and making my own music, expressing myself and receiving those feelings when I'm singing on pitch and I'm in confluence with my voice and guitar, that's a beautiful thing. And even though I can't do it anything like as good as the best people, it's something to work towards, and it's very rewarding. And so, for all these years I've been doing this singing and guitar playing, it's like I've been panning and I've just received one little flake, tiny little speck of gold each time I do it. But for me, that was treasure. And that's something that I grow with. But I just don't feel like I'm growing at all making videos. It's not giving me anything, you know? And so probably I won't be doing too much more of it. There you have it, people.
Remember to name a child for me. I ride to the Rio, where my life I will spend. Adios, amigo. Adios, my friend.
Adios,
compadre, let us share
Adiós, amigos.
Mañanas bring joy.